Good afternoon, everyone. It is 6 p.m. on Monday, June the 7th, 2021. And this is the regular meeting of the Community Development Corporation of Los Fresnos. I see we have a quorum, so I hereby call the meeting to order. That's under A. Under B of our agenda, invocation and pledge.
Let's pray. Father, we thank you for another day we have to enjoy, and we thank you for the sunshine and the wind and the recent rains. We ask that the rain stop for a little bit so we can dry out, but we do appreciate it, and help us to always see the different parts of your creation and your beauty that you have for us to enjoy. Be with those that are serving tonight and help them as they make decisions, and we pray that you bless them and all of their endeavors. We ask this in Christ's name, amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item number C on our agenda, Citizens Forum. Ms. Jackie, anyone sign up? That being the case, we move on to the action items. D, under action items, D1, consideration and action to approve the minutes of May 3, 2021. Any questions, comments, discussion?
I'm going to make the motion to approve the minutes from May 3rd, 2021.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. We approve the minutes of May 3rd, 2021, and the minutes are contained in our packets. Any further questions, comments, discussion?
No, sir.
That being the case, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, it's unanimous. Under item D2, consideration and action to acknowledge the May 2021 financial report under A, monthly, B, year-to-date report, and C, sales tax report. Mr. Milo.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, you can see the check register. All of them are normal things that you have approved, either through a budget or approved and as a project that we're doing. Nothing out of the ordinary there. The second page, which is in your packet, page number 9, we're already 66.67% of the year done. 8 months. We've received $339, almost $340,000 in revenue, and then $155,000 in expenditures. So 82% of our budget is already received, which is pretty impressive. The next page, I kind of talked a little bit specific about sales tax, as that's really the only source except for a little bit of interest income. We have $339,000 in sales tax collection already, compared to a $410,000 budget, so we only have $70,000 left to go, $71,000. We will far exceed that, and I'll show you that in a minute. We'll probably hit 500 to 510,000, which is pretty awesome. That, if you'll remember, well, I'll talk about that in a minute with the sales tax report. So you can see that page there on packet page 10. Packet page 11 and 12, 13 and 14 are just the line items that we have, and everything is lining up good as according to budgeted items. So that is good and what you require of us. So as you can see the end there, packet page 15, Total expenditures, 155,000. So we're doing very well thus far. The next page, and that's the one, the sales tax report. If you think it can't get any better, it does. 33.49% increase for this year over last year at the same month, which is, it would have been March of last year, which was the first month of COVID. And if you'll recall, we were worried about that last year, but we had a 12% increase that time last year. And now we're enjoying a 33%. So for the year, we're almost 21% to the better. That means our businesses are doing well. They're having good business. I know that you're probably like me, construction and how people get in and out of businesses, but most of them, they figured out how to do it and do it well. There's still lines at Circle K. There's still lines at McDonald's. So those are the ones that are blocked there. The bakery that is across the street at the what I call the old Frankie's Cafe dates me a little bit, but they're struggling probably more. Do what? Yeah, about the only way is go down the alley back towards the bank, and you know, I know how to navigate that, and you probably do, but so many people don't, and so people hate to go back out on 1847 because how do you get in line? And so they're really struggling. So there is some bad to that. So I don't want to just paint all the good stuff, but it is good overall. Hopefully they can make it until it dries up so they can start again first is what we need. And that's all I have unless you have questions.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. Any questions, comments, further discussion? Do I hear a motion?
I'll go ahead and make a motion to acknowledge the May 2021 financial report, A monthly, B year-to-date report, sales tax report.
And I'll second the motion to acknowledge the May 2021 financial report, A monthly, B year-to-date, and C sales tax report.
A motion and a second on the floor to acknowledge the May 2021 financial report, monthly, year-to-date, and sales tax report. Any further questions, comments, discussion? That being the case, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, it's unanimous. Under D, action item D3, consideration and action to approve funding for the 2021 Cowboy Cook-Off.
Mr. Chairman, thank you all for having us this evening. Myself and George Gomez, of course, Mark's a member, you're a member of the rodeo committee. Due to COVID last year, we didn't have a rodeo. We didn't have a cook-off. We decided we're gonna have one this year. We moved our date from just before Thanksgiving to September the 24th and 25th. Hopefully that'll fit better for us. We tried to work something out with the chamber with the Halloween festival. That didn't happen, so we moved it and we found another date that we think that'll work for us. We appreciate your support in the past. We need the continued support. It's hard to get sponsors for an event like this because there's not a whole lot we can give back to them. It's not like a rodeo. But it's a thing that eventually down the road could be very good for the community. It can be big. We're going to have more than just the cook-off. We're going to have some music. We're going to have a car show. We're going to have arts and crafts show. And we're going to have a couple of food trucks there. We're going to try to make it more enjoyable for families to come out and have fun. We need your all support. It costs money to put these things on. Whatever y'all can do, we appreciate it. We're going to make it happen one way or the other. But y'all have been good to us in the past, and we hope you continue to support.
Thank you, Ms. Bruce. Any comments, questions, discussion for Mr. Bruce?
One more comment. We're gonna need some judges, so you guys get ready. It's not like it was before. It's a very different system altogether. We've changed from IBCA to what they call Champions Barbecue Alliance, and it's all computerized. You vote on a telephone. You don't have to do all that other stuff that we've done in the past, so it's more enjoyable for the judges. It'll go quicker. And this way, each team that competes, instead of only knowing the first 5 or 10, every one of them will get a readout and they know exactly how they scored on their respective meets. And we're hoping to make it fun for everyone, and yourselves included. It's another little event for Los Fresnos. Hopefully the road's a little better by then, but if it's not, we'll manage it, we'll get through. So that's really all I have, sir. Thank you for your help.
Thank you. My comment is, I had a practice in Houston, and I used to sponsor teams and for cook-offs, up to and including the Houston Rodeo, Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, which is huge. And my personal experience was, a lot of people put a lot of work. You put more work into it than you get out of it. You may walk away with a trophy if you're lucky, or some sort of recognition, but a lot of the work goes in there, and it's quite competitive and very interesting. I know that locally we have a lot of cookers. Hopefully we'll get some local interest. So I just want to say, from my experience with it, it's been a good thing. It's very competitive. It's wholesome, clean fun. There's no nothing that I would say would be detrimental to our general public. In the past, we started out with, I think, $1,000 first, second, and third year, and I think we bumped it up to $1,500. I would like to suggest that maybe we stick to the $1,500 for this year, and see how things are developing, because there's still what if
Yes.
question out there.
Yes.
So my recommendation is $1,500. I don't know if anybody else has any comments.
Just on a caveat before you vote, we are going to have a proclamation made by Senator Eddie Lucio to make this cook-off a state championship. And the reason they do that is because the teams that win, they qualify for the state championship. If it's not a state championship event, they can't qualify. So you may bring a few more individual teams in here that really want to try to make, it's like a point system. They want to get up there and try to win more money. And I think that's a little plus, may help us some. We're trying to make it fun for everybody included.
So there may be some outsiders that think we're pushovers. Is that what you're saying, Mr.
There
Bruce?
always are. I mean, we have teams, the last one we had teams come as far as Laredo, Victoria, Corpus. The last event, we had 43 teams. We'd like to have 50, but we'll take what we get. We make it fun for them and make it fun for us too. And like you say, it is a hell of a lot of work to put these things on. Unlike the rodeo, because the rodeo is a 3-day event, but this is all crammed into one night and one day. So it's just organization. That's all it is. But we got a good group.
Well, I think we can show them what we got.
Yes, we can.
Anybody have a motion?
I have a question. On the music, I know there was some issues. I know the last year we had it here, there was a lot of people concerned about the music was way, and the people that were competing did not have the opportunity. Is it going to be changed, or?
Well, we're going to have it only during the day on Saturday. It's not going to be Friday night. It's going to be a live bands. We're going to have a little stage set up and have some live music just to kind of have a little more entertainment. We're going to have a couple of food trucks here to sell food to people. And then we're going to have what they call a people's choice, and we're going to have individuals go around and you vote on the teams. They make something different, and you get a sample. And if they win, we acknowledge that. We give them a trophy. We pay them extra money. It's more fun for them. Gives them another chance to do something besides just the basic cook-off. And it's good. I mean, some of you have been involved before and some of you haven't. I encourage you to come out at least to see what's going on and see where your money is going.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
About what do you spend
Minimum, $10,000. That's what it cost us. We have not made any money yet. We've lost money every year. We cannot keep losing money. It's hard to get sponsors, like I said. Without your all's help, the city and a few more sponsors that we get, it'd be really tough. You know, the cooking teams, we pay out a lot of money. We have to get them here to be able to make any money. But it costs extra money. That's why we're going out and searching for more sponsors to help us. If we can pay for the event, then we can make a little bit of money and kind of hold our heads up a little bit higher. Because the rodeo committee, I don't know how long they're going to keep saying, you guys just can't keep doing this if we're losing money. Because it's a group that puts it on. It's not the whole group. But that's our charge, is to come up with new events, and this is one of the events that we do. We think someday, I don't know if any of y'all ever know of Smoking on the Rio, which is now in Mercedes. They have several hundred teams there now. They started with a little thing just like we did. Just like the rodeo 30-something years ago. It was back in the back, had a lot of people, and it just keeps growing and growing and growing. And this helps our rodeo grow as well.
See, I have a question, maybe throw it out. This is the type of program that we benefit from quite a bit and that we want to see succeed. I acknowledge the suggestion of the $1,500, but what does the balance of the board think about putting another $1,000 with that and supporting them for $2,500 to help them make sure that this will succeed and to relieve some of the pressure on them? Because I think people will come.
Oh, they'll come.
Because they want to get out.
Yep.
And they want to do something.
Yep.
And they like to eat.
It's kind of a family event. These cooking teams, they're all families. And they do this every week somewhere. I mean, that's their pastime of getting away from the 9 to 5 or 8 to whatever it is. It gives them a way to get away and relax a little bit. And some of these guys they're very serious. They know what they're doing. They're not just come out and see what they're doing and how they're doing it. And you'll be surprised. It's not a backyard cook-off, I promise you. It's very different. These guys are professionals for the most part. But I appreciate your comments, sir.
Thank you. If someone will move in second, we can vote on it. Oh, we don't have a motion yet, so.
I make a motion that we provide $2,500 this year for support of the cook-off.
I'll go ahead and second that.
We have a motion and a second, and we provide $2,500 in support to the 4th Annual Cowboy Cook-Off being held this year in September. Any further questions, comments, discussion? That being the case, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous. Thank you very much, Mr. Bruce.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much,
That'll help our
George.
situation a lot, we promise you. We'll make it worth a while.
Thank you. Moving on to under action items D4, consideration and action to approve funding for the 2021 Narciso Martinez Cultural Arts Center Conjunto Festival.
Good evening, members of the Board of the Community Development Corporation. My name is Rogelio Nunez. This is our third year here in Los Fresnos. We had this major event in San Benito for 25. We brought it here. We've been successful in terms of the 3-day event. The first year obviously was, are people going to come because they used to go to one town, now they're going to come to another. I would say the first year we did kind of maybe lose a few folks. The second year we picked it up, and of course 2020 came and we canceled. I'm enthusiastic that 2021 we will bring the crowd back. We are going to scale down to 2 days instead of 3, only because we're starting late. Again, the what if, as Mr. Juarez says, we weren't sure yet whether we should move forward or not with it, concern for safety and all that goes on with COVID. But after some big discussions, we went ahead and said yes. just as footnotes, comments, we do have a sister project in San Antonio called the Guadalupe Cultural Arts Center, which is into their 40th Conjunto Festival. They unfortunately have missed it twice now because COVID. So 2020 they canceled. 2021 they did a virtual, which was live in their theater. They had 6 bands, and you pay $15 and you can watch it online. But again, we are further along with the vaccinations, and I think we'll do better. I have had many calls. I'm not sure. I put out a report, maybe it's in your packet, in terms of the people that already, the calls from Houston, Galveston, Fort Bend, those folks are already like, we need to go because we need to get out. They couldn't go to San Antonio because, again, it was virtual. So I'm getting calls constantly, a lot of people commenting on Facebook. I follow all as best as I can social media. So I do think that we're going to have a good event, again, barring perhaps maybe a hurricane. I don't know. We never can tell, but that's where we live. We live in that. We weren't sure, we didn't know about COVID, but we're doing a lot better, I think, now than we were before. We are looking at 13 bands. If we went to 3 days, we usually had between 17 and 18. I think we'll be able to work with 13 bands for the 2 days. It is bands that come from not only the Rio Grande Valley, there'll be bands from Houston, there'll be bands from San Antonio, Laredo, Corpus, and then some from the Valley. Like I said, this is an event that's pretty well documented in the annals of Conjunto Music, which is a bajo sexto and accordion, as one of the major events in the nation. We are, again, one of 2 organizations that promotes this festival, with the other one being San Antonio, the Guadalupe Cultural Arts Center. So again, you've been very generous in your funding, very supportive in terms of all the infrastructure that you provide, which, I'll be very frank with you, when we were in San Benito for 25 years, even though San Benito has a very natural connection because it is considered to be the Conjunto capital of the world for some people, the support we've gotten here, that the police chiefs, the EDC, the city council, the public works people, we used to clean up every night at our festival. As soon as it shut down, we cleaned it for the next day to be clean. When I went out the first time to start cleaning after the event was over on a Friday, Mr. Salazar came and said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm cleaning up." He said, "No, we clean up." I said, "Wow, okay." So that was very impressive, and I really feel very honored now to be here and hopefully get this third one going. And again, some of you may be new. If you haven't received, this would be our last year's promotional. In this year, we may not lay out this kind of magazine. Our sort of. Yeah, right. I'm sorry. Blanca Davis, and again, usually we would come with an entourage of folks, and this year I said, let me ride by myself. I'm not comfortable yet riding with 5 people in a car. But Blanca Davis, who does her sales ads, actually is now doing ads for the Los Fresnos News and the La Feria News. She's a salesperson for them, and I think we're going to go the route of the La Feria News to do our brochure, which probably is going to come out in color, but in terms of more of a newspaper type, rather than this glossy one. This one does cost a little bit. The newspaper print's a little bit more inexpensive. So that's what we're going to do. If you have any questions, like I said, we are pretty well on the map. People are reaching out. In the report, which was 2019, when we did, we did a sort of a survey as people are coming in. Where do you come from? Obviously, Houston had a big, strong representation of folks that came into the event. Los Fresnos, again, obviously we're here. San Benito, the Valley, Corpus, Austin, and we usually have a few, at least 50 or so folks who come from out of state. Chicago being one, California being the other. We have had some from Ohio. There's coming one for sure I know is coming from Virginia, because he emails me every week and says, is it going to happen or not? Because I need to book my flight. So I think it's a major event. I mean, I was listening to the gentleman here. I mean, these kinds of things can become, even bigger as we work with them, and, I'll be happy to collaborate anywhere in terms of how we do things, the kind of thing, how we run the festival, how we reach out to community, and the kinds of things that we do to be successful. I think Los Fresnos, and again, I'm getting the feel for Los Fresnos. I mean, I'm from San Benito, born and raised. You know, I can't get the San Benito out of me. I don't want to, but I mean, it's just they're sort of born and raised in that town. But the ideas of cultural destination, I'll point you out to. I think I told Mark, I don't know if he made a copy or not, but in the Texas Highways, which is a monthly publication which advertises events in Texas, we did get our Conjunto Festival into their calendar, which was, there's a timeline, we got it in, should be coming out, hopefully by September, that there'll be a Conjunto Festival in Los Fresnos. But this month, June month, of Texas Highways has an article on the resacas, and they feature Resaca de los Cuates, I guess it's here in Los Fresnos. We have one, obviously, in San Benito that runs through with a nice walking trail. I did reach out to the person who wrote the article. She's a journalist. She didn't come to Los Fresnos. She didn't come to the Valley. She actually talked to people on the phone to get it out, but it's a real neat article. I already start the brain working in terms of what can we do in terms of bringing people into Los Fresnos, not only for festivals, cook-offs, rodeos, but again, the resacas and what they're all about. And people, birds, obviously you all have a moment here where birds are going to become even more important for Los Fresnos in terms of birding issues, et cetera, et cetera. So anyway, we're ready to Conjunto. I can't say rock and roll because it's not rock and roll. We're ready to get it going. We are already beginning to do our materials and get them printed, and get the ball rolling on this event. So if you've got any questions, I'm here to answer. Any comments, critiques, whatever the case may be. And I should say that the site where this is at the Memorial Park is just perfect. People have commented. That's the one thing many people have commented when they were going to San Benito. It's open air. They like the covered area. They like that it's big. They like that there's parking across the street. They like the fact that everything runs pretty well in terms of the whole facility. So it lends itself for that event. So again, it's pretty much a natural fit. So.
Thank you, Mr. Nunez.
Okay.
Questions, comments, discussion? Well, if you don't know me by now, I'm very opinionated, so I will make some comments. If you look here where it says Narciso Martinez Cultural Arts Center, people see this and some people think, well, this has to do with music. This is like a concert, it's musical. And it's not. It's not really music, it's culture. The key word in here is cultural. And this is a celebration of the culture that Hispanics like myself and maybe some of you in this room that we grew up with. This is our culture. I went to Pennsylvania and I was just left with my mouth open when I saw the Amish. It's a culture thing for them. It's religious, but in a way it's cultural. You'll go to other parts of the country and you'll see other cultures. You go to New York and you see Yankees there, but that's another story. But anyway, this is a cultural celebration, and it's celebrating the culture of our area down here. I was going to bring, I forgot my phone, but I collect recordings from other festivals. And one of the musicians said, this is a celebration. What started this was back in the 1800s, the Germans and the Czechs brought the accordion down here. And if you don't know it, the accordion has a right side where you play the tones and the notes, and the left side is a bass. Well, the Tejanos, they don't play the bass side. They incorporated a bajo sexto, and that's what made conjunto music. And correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Nunez.
Oh, you're right.
But anyway, that's what started it out, and that's what Narciso Martinez did. He played for George Bush in the White House, and I know because Alfredo Juarez, rest in peace, my compadre, played the bajo sexto for him. So this is a big deal. It's a big deal culturally. It's maybe not that big a deal to some people musically. Maybe we don't have rock stars, but we have our own little rock stars here, and that's what this celebration is. And having said that, I would suggest to the members of the board that we continue funding the the festival, and the same amount, $5,000. It's really, it's growing. It's grown from the first time. It's improved. It was a learning experience. A lot was learned, and it's getting better. And I venture to say that maybe in a year or two, we're going to outgrow that park. We're going to have to look for a bigger venue. And there's the guys right there. You may want to talk to Mr. Nunez. But anyway, my suggestion is that we approve the $5,000.
I'll make that motion, I'll second that motion, Mr. Morris.
Okay, well, I didn't make it a motion, but I will make a motion that we approve funding for the Narciso Martinez Cultural Arts Center Festival located here in Los Fresnos in the amount of $5,000.
I'll go ahead and second that.
Do we have any further questions, comments, discussion?
No, sir.
That being the case, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, it's unanimous. Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Nunez. Mr. Mylum, moving on with our action items under number 5. Consideration and action to approve funding for a fireworks show for the Independence Day celebration on July 3rd, 2021. Mr. Mylum.
If you'll recall, back when we did budget, we left the 5,000 in there for fireworks because we hoped and assumed and prayed that COVID would be relieved so that we could do this event on July 4th, Independence Day celebration. So even though it was in the budget, I thought it'd be good that we bring it back up for your stamp of approval on it. We do 5,000, and what we do is we recommend Big G's Fireworks. They've done it in the past, and they come and set it up and safely away, and it's a really good end to that event that both the city and the chamber work to put on. It's a good day, and we do it. It will be on July 3rd. If you recall, the last couple of years we've tried to stay off of July 4th because of numbers. People will come on the 3rd or the 5th or the 2nd, but a lot of times on the 4th they want to spend time with families or go to big, huge shows on the island or Brownsville. But yet they'll do ours on the other time, so it works out good.
Do we have any questions, comments, discussion? Do I hear a motion?
I make a motion that we approve the funding, the $5,000 funding for the fireworks celebration on July 3rd, 2021.
I would second.
Okay, there's, any further questions, comments, discussion? Mr. Jones, that is, the 5,000 for the Big G's firework, correct?
That's correct.
There being no further questions, comments, discussion, and the motion is, and second are on the floor. All those in favor of $5,000, say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Mr. Mylum, thank you for your work on this project. It's greatly appreciated. You cannot buy smiles and gleams in the eyes of little children as they see the lights go up in the sky. Moving on to action item D5. I'm sorry, somebody wrote on the back of this paper. Item number 6, consideration and approval to approve a sign grant for Bamboo Garden Chinese Restaurant located at 407 West Ocean Boulevard, Suite A. Mr. Mylum.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, the sign committee or the grant committee met just before this meeting and reviewed those. If you'll see the nice sign on packet page 39, really looks like a Chinese place, and the sign is relatively inexpensive. It's $850, so half of that would be $425 for CDC, and that was a recommendation of the committee as well.
Thank you, Mr. Mylum. Any questions, comments, discussion? Again, this is the recommendation of the committee. That being the case, there's an action and, there's a motion and a second to approve a sign grant for Bamboo Garden Chinese Restaurant located at 407 West Ocean Boulevard, Suite A, in the amount of $425, which is half of the $850 proposed. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Need a motion? I didn't see a motion.
Oh, I'm sorry, we went through all of that for practice. It's just practice. Do I hear a motion?
I'll go ahead and make the motion to approve the sign grant for Bamboo Garden Chinese Restaurant located at 407 West Ocean Boulevard, Suite A. The bid that they received from DuBose Signs was $850. City's portion would be $425.
Would second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Now we can legally proceed. Questions, comments, discussion? That being the case, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, it's unanimous. Thank you, Mr. Milo. Moving on to item E, report by CDC Consultant. 1, CDC Consultant Report, May 2021, under A, Business Development, B, Community Development, and C, Federal Relief Grants to Texas. Mr. Martinez.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Board of Directors. As you can see there on a report on page 45, and a little FYI info in the back about some grants that are coming in through the federal government and the state. But as you can see in the business development, a landowner around a Walmart, a real estate and some investors coming into town, a child care center, a home, et cetera, that come in. We've had a good traffic of individuals trying to start up or develop. We obviously have had wonderful traffic and development of residential subdivisions, and so it looks very favorable. Also, the Safe Driving Academy, working with him and our contacts in Austin and getting licensing for opening up a truck driving training school. My extent of the help was to give them information about how to get certification through Workforce. And then now, after he submitted the application to the State Workforce Commission to follow up and make sure that he hadn't gotten a response. So I've been following up with our legislators up in Austin. Hopefully they can knock on the door and get a response. A lot of the offices in Austin are still working part-time, I understand, or out of their home. But anyway, he's actively looking to start up a 18-wheeler training school in town, which is one of our high-demand markets in the ports, and the both ports that we have here, one which you are part of the district, Port of Brownsville, and the other one, Port of San Benito, Port Isabel. A Las Casitas developer as well, working with him, talking with him. They're hoping to develop the RV at the RV park, which has Holiday RV Park is now going to be Sierra. They submitted their design information to us as well. Beautiful logo, and working with them on getting some decals on his sign about the bike trail and the nature trail. So it's a work in progress with him. On community development, and some other things happened this week, but I'll report it next week, which is not here. Community development, Cameron County did advise and continues to advise. I hope you can continue to get the word out that folks that you have touched base with in the community, there are still funds available for housing relief to renters and landlords. Of course, the fireworks, thank you for passing that. It's a great event that we have, and we participate also with the city manager in getting quotes. Dialogue of the jobs fair has also been going on with Workforce Solutions. And by the way, on that, an area staffing companies having a a job fair tomorrow at the community center, but we didn't participate because they just did it. So, hey, we're going to be there and hoping them for the best. It's tomorrow from 9 to 12. One of the major employers that they have that trying to, drum up personnel for a company out in Bayview that manufactures boats. And they've had a lot of difficulty getting workers out there in the different fields that they have, from carpentry to electricians, et cetera. Apparently that whole industry has boomed. The ecotourism industry of boating, et cetera, outdoors, et cetera. The replanting activities at the park as part of our community involvement has been delayed because of the rain, obviously. But the good note is that the drainage that y'all funded out there is working. A little kink here and there, but it is working. It's not a mosquito pond anymore as it used to be. It's still a little bit, but it'll be worked out in time. We're going to be doing that redevelopment of the house. I just haven't gotten around to because I've been busy on other items, but the landscaping plan with our committee and people that are gardeners, et cetera, in Cameron County are going to be developing this plan at the Homestead area. That's a big project, but it's basically a schematic for y'all to look at, and we can have ready for any funding coming down the tube from federal or state funding. And so the best practice in any business of public improvements, especially with community involvement, is to have little sketches of where we'd like to go with potential cost estimates. And that's what we'll be doing and getting ready for getting some quotes on for you. Let's talk about this ecosystem grant. The latest and greatest news, talked to the senator's office. It didn't make it out of the Senate committee, but it was pulled together with all other requests on Section 11 of the state budget, and it was pulled and sent over to the funding that, if you can see in the back, they're awaiting funding for approximately 16.7 billion. And so our project's still working. Again, the best practice in any business, in this business of community development with state and federal, is to have our projects up there, or initiatives as we call them, and we have at least that one. On the TxDOT and signs for our nature awareness, I'm working with TxDOT, met with them for 4 locations, and they asked for some technical information that I'm trying to recover, information on decals for their equipment that's on their lighting equipments at the corners. And I asked information from the city of Harlingen because they purchased them. And I haven't gotten a reply, so I'm going to go knock on their door and try and get it as soon as possible so we can get these decals on and bring this information to you in the next 30 days. Hopefully we can get some from Harlingen on that information. Their main concern, the engineer from TxDOT, San Benito, who I've been assigned to work with, their main concern is that that equipment, lighting equipment, does get heated a little, not hot, it's heated because it has equipment for the lights. Their main concern has always been, will that affect the equipment? And that's why I want to get the specifications. I don't know anything about decals, but somebody did them before, and there's a president somewhere now following up on it. And of course, the information as I see it coming down for you also to be aware. And the city is always going to be getting opportunities from that for infrastructure and developments and stuff. So we're all preparing for different venues or avenues, if I may, different funding sources. Any questions, answers, or board input at this time? You'd like me to follow up and any referral? I'm here to serve.
Does that conclude your report, Mr. Martinez?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. Moving on to item F, report by general manager, under A, cameras, B, infrastructure, caution lights, Mr. Milo.
I'll go first to B, which is the infrastructure project caution lights. Still no progress on that. Gene and I will probably begin to bother. I'm trying to think the right word. Bother, text out a little bit to see if we can get, it's been quite a while yet. See if they can at least give us a time. They haven't even given us a time when they could install those up here. So that's all I have on that. We'll continue to beat that drum. Cameras, Dale has got a presentation he's gonna go through so y'all can kind of see. We've had this camera thing for the parks to people to see, and we're waiting and waiting and waiting on them, but he's got some information to share, so at least you have an idea where we're headed with it.
Hello, and thank you for giving me this opportunity. I hope that I'm going to give you some information that will that you're looking for. EarthCam is who we're talking to, and if you don't know anything about EarthCam, EarthCam is where a lot of the videos come. In fact, I have a video that they sponsor and support, but they're very particular about who they let on their platform. They want to make sure that the platform does what they expect it to do. They want to make sure that the platform is something people want to see. So I had to submit to them some photos. They're under review, and the photos that I submitted to them are of our nature park. And one of the things that I need to know, because I do have to give them a follow-up, is I need just a little better understanding of where all the cameras need to be. Basically, their platform is, it has to be of high interest to the community. So when I submitted it, one of the cool things about our area is we're extremely big in birding. And so that they were very interested in that aspect of it. But so when I sent them this, they felt confident that they could do something with this. But I understand there are more locations that are desired for these cameras. So these are the pictures I sent them. There's basically going to be 5 different cameras, birding, butterflies, all the work that's been done at the nature park is what we submitted to them for consideration. Once we get in, if we want to expand and we're getting a lot of hits on our area, they're a lot more lenient about letting us expand to multiple cameras. So, any questions?
This is a free website that anybody
No.
can go to?
Definitely not
I'm not
free.
referring by free for us, free for the public to look at?
Yes, so there's two aspects of it. You can pay, you can have a paid subscription to it that gives you more frills. But yes, the website, you can go to their website right now and see cameras all over the world. It's EarthCam. It is definitely not free to us. However, I haven't gotten a quote because they wanted to know how many cameras and so forth. And we have to be approved before they'll even quote us. So.
Can I? The views that we got is 2 of them from each bird blind. One to the area where the little water piece is from each one at a different angle. One from each blind, and then the other angle is off of that. It's kind of out in the middle, but it would probably need to go to a little brushy area where, so there'd be 2 from each bird blind, one that goes to the waterfall area and then the other one that goes to another area. And then the fifth one is, of course, the butterfly area. That's going to be easy. So I just wanted you to know the thought I had from what we discussed.
I would, as a birder, be more interested in seeing the cameras toward water features that, rather than that one, because that one's out in the middle of the open, and you're gonna get more, once we get them up and moving, more birds in those cover areas where those real new shallow ponds are.
And the cameras can be adjusted to the areas that we want to peruse or watch. I'm not a birder. If it were deer, I would be all over it. But I love birds of prey. That's my other thing. So one of the things that that this lady that I've been interacting with was expressing to me is almost essentially what you said, which is just like that video that I threw up of the, sorry. See if I can get it back up. So you'll see that all of their stuff is very focused, and they have one that I thought was pretty cool, but the video didn't play well. They have one that's literally looking over a nest, and you're watching the babies be dealt with, and so EarthCam seems to be the best resource. And there's a couple of options where EarthCam is concerned, and that is we can purchase our own cameras and buy bandwidth from them and upload, or use their cameras, which is what they obviously recommend because they want to make money. So I don't know what the best option is yet. We haven't gotten that far. So
That concludes your report.
that's all I have. If you guys have questions.
I have one real quick question. In the birding in the beginning to spin up interest on this, can you do a lot of heavy feeding, put bird seed out and so forth like that to help create the interest? Because where all this originally come about, my wife found some, I think Santa Ana or someplace, they had one and they had a big feeder and they filled that puppy every day, and they had birds, you name it, they were there feeding.
Laguna Ascosa also has a big feeder out. So
Okay, just to sort of gin up or spin up the interest.
Yeah, we'll need to get the feeders and the water features really coordinated to pull the birds in.
I'm just going to get you the cameras. We'll point them however you want them. I don't do feeders or water, but I will point the cameras however you want when we get the approval. Let me just, because this is something y'all had mentioned, and I'm kind of dropping the EarthCam on you without really talking about it. We've looked into setting up our own network there and live streaming the area ourselves and hosting that ourselves. And it's ridiculously expensive and way too much maintenance. So an EarthCam type approach handles the bandwidth problem. That's why we went this direction, because they already have a bandwidth option out there. So,
just as a point of information, I checked over the weekend, almost half of the species that you would expect to find in Cameron County have been sighted at the park already, which is really good. Now, there's a lot we're not going to get because of habitat. But just the fact that we've got just a hair under half of the potential species that people have reported into eBird is really good.
that sounds good.
Thank you, Mr. House. And I agree with you. Your role here is the cameras, and you tell me where to point them and I'll point them. So I think, Mr. Mylan, we need to get with someone on that, with that nature park that can, I agree with Mr. Jones also. Let's, you know, I saw the pictures, they're nice pictures, but I didn't see any birds in there. You know, let's get some some pictures with birds, and maybe that'll create interest, because birds are here.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I sent them, the website that shows that we have, I don't know how many species of birds in this area and how big a birding this is. And so when I sent that, there was definitive interest. I will tell you that there was some pushback about having it just all over the city. Like, they're not interested in that for a small, town that people just drive through headed to the island. So, there was some pushback there, but again, she told me, you get some cameras in and you drum up interest, we'll almost let you do whatever you want, because we assume you understand what people are looking for, so. That's been my feedback, so. Anything else?
Thank you, Mr. House.
Awesome.
Let me finish up with that. From what I heard, probably the best thing is maybe limit it to 3 right now to begin. 1 from each bird area, focused on the water feature and not in that one. Maybe 1. And then, the butterfly garden area, before the freeze and everything, there was butterflies quick. It didn't take long, so get that going, and I think that would be a very attractive one as well. So we can work on that.
Does that conclude your report, Mr. Milo? Yes, sir. Okay, under G, committee reports, we'll take the quick route. Anybody have anything to report?
No, sir.
No, sir.
That being the case, item H, meeting adjourned. Time is 6:57.